Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lara, or Lara Likes Mascara. Welcome to my 2024 makeup goals and also my wrap up of my 2023 makeup goals. I usually do this video kind of as a two-parter to talk about how the previous year has gone and how I can apply the lessons from that previous year to my makeup goals for the following year. It just works well for me to combine these into one because I find that what I do in one year really influences the next year, and my goals don't tend to be too dissimilar from one year to the next. I'm just tweaking things here and there as my preferences change, as my collection changes, and as I realize that something that maybe didn't work in the previous year should be tweaked for 2024. I know it's pretty dark in here now. I know it's very gloomy out today, and honestly, the rest of the week looks very gloomy as well. We barely had any snow this year, and it's like the week between Christmas and New Year's right now, and it's just all gray and above zero. But, you know, hopefully this feels kind of cozy. I hope you can grab your tea and enjoy. I've got one right here in my hairy mug. I was planning to do a more like celebratory kind of end of the year video where I would like have a drink and chat through things, but just not really feeling like having a drink at the moment, so tea works instead of an alcoholic beverage. I think this is like the happiest I've been with achieving my makeup goals since I started doing these videos. This is probably like the third or fourth year in a row, and really the longer I've been a conscious consumer and on this makeup no buy, low buy journey, the better in tune I am with myself and my makeup preferences. And I think, yeah, it's just gotten a lot better, a lot easier. I'm liking my makeup collection a lot more than I used to. I'm liking the way my overall makeup looks more than I used to. I used to have a lot of days where I just like wouldn't like the way that my makeup turned out because I was trying to use products I didn't love, or I was trying different techniques just to sort of experiment, which I don't regret at all. I'm so glad that I took the time to do that. But now it's pretty rare when I don't like my makeup. Like yesterday, I thought that my concealer looked horrible, so I kind of redid it. But, you know, I had already planned to declutter that concealer at the end of 2023. So that sort of solidified plans that I had already had. But anyways, let's talk about my makeup goals from 2023, what they were, and if I achieved them or not. So my first goal, the biggest one, the one that kind of shapes how I look at makeup, and one that I have had on and off since I started this conscious consumerism journey, is my low buy. So my goal was to be on a low buy for the whole year, but that actually changed, and in June, I decided to go on a no buy instead of a low buy for the rest of the year. If you're curious about that, then I can link the video right here. But I am so happy that I switched from a low buy to a no buy, because this is just like in tune with what I wanted to do. And I kind of feel like I was headed that direction anyways. Like, even if I'd still called it a low buy, I still wouldn't have purchased any makeup. But I am planning to do a full video on this, talking through why I'm still such a proponent of the makeup no buy for myself, why it has worked so well for me, and what my plans are for future, because I know there have been a lot of people who have been on no buys or low buys recently and have sort of been questioning if that is the best method, which I think is super helpful. Like, it doesn't make sense to just blindly follow along with YouTubers, and if they say no buy, do a no buy, you know what I mean? Like, we should all be evaluating everything for ourselves and whether or not it is the right choice. And I've come to the conclusion that for me, a no buy is definitely the right choice. So I definitely achieved that goal of a low buy / no buy in 2023. Big thumbs up on that one. I did bring some things into my collection, but not too many. More skincare actually, but these are just my makeup goals that we are focused on today. The next goal that I had was no impulse purchasing. This is a problem that I had, you know, probably like 2015 to 2019, where a huge percentage of the makeup products that I brought into my collection were impulse purchases, things I bought just spur of the moment with no planning, usually because they were on sale or that I had not necessarily even heard of these products before. I just spontaneously wanted them. And with almost all of these products, they were a huge fail because impulse purchasing for me personally does not usually turn out very well. And so I just wanted to eliminate this last year. And this is kind of a constant. So I am not going to call this one of my goals for 2024, but it is. It's just that I have incorporated this into my overall like makeup ideology and even like approach to stuff in general. I don't want to be making impulse purchases ever. Like not next year, not the year after. I'm not going to include it as one of my goals, but just know that impulse purchasing is not something that I ever plan to do again. But that was a check for this year. I don't think I bought anything at an impulse. With everything I brought into my collection, either it was products that I purchased that I had considered long and hard, or they were things that were decluttered to me that I then took a long time to decide if they actually had a place in my collection. Because not everything that I brought into my collection this year was purchased. Some of these were things that I traded or decluttered them to me, but I would spend a lot of time thinking about if I should actually keep them in my collection, and a lot of times I just didn't end up keeping them. The third goal was to make my overall collection smaller. Again, this is a goal that is like kind of constant. I don't know what my end number is for the ideal size of my makeup collection. At the moment, I'm thinking it's somewhere around 125, but that may change as my collection changes. But my overall goal and the reason why I've essentially been on a makeup no buy for this whole time is because I want a smaller, more curated collection of stuff that I like more. And I definitely succeeded in this regard, and I have the stats to back it up. Last year, I ended with about 175 makeup products in my collection, and this year, again, I did my inventory and I ended up with 155.5 makeup products. If you missed my makeup inventories, I will link them here, but basically every year I do videos showing everything in my makeup collection so that I can keep on track of what I have. But yeah, I wanted my collection to get smaller, and it did. It went from 175 to 155. So really happy about that change because I didn't think it would be that much. I think I expected it more to be like 15 fewer products, but the fact that it was 20, it was even better. The fourth goal was kind of a two-parter. I wanted to be using products that I enjoyed more because, as I mentioned, I definitely use products sometimes that I don't like that much. So I wanted to allow myself to use products that I love, even if they're not the things that are going to expire first, so I don't need to reach for them. I wanted to give myself permission to use them because at the end of the day, everything expires, right? So even a eyeshadow palette, it is going to expire one day, and I want to get good use out of it before it does. But if I just hold it up as this prized item because it was nice and expensive and I love it, then what's the point of even owning it? So I wanted to give myself permission to use those products. And the other part is to allow myself to declutter products that are more expensive and higher end, but that I don't necessarily like that much. Been forgetting to drink my tea. So what I mean by this is kind of along the same line of thinking of like when I've spent a lot of money on a product, it becomes like almost untouchable to me. Like if I love it, I don't want to use it. But if I dislike it, I also obviously don't want to use it, but I don't even want to get rid of it or pass it on to someone else because I'm like, oh, I spent a lot of money on that. Or even if I didn't purchase it, even if it's a present, like because it's a more high-end product, I'm like, I should keep it around because it's so nice. And this year, I think I got a lot better with dealing with that. So 2 good examples. I had this MAC quad, which, it was just a fairly basic brown palette. It had a dark brown, 2 shimmers, and then 1 kind of like light base color. And I would use it, but only when I forced myself to. Like, this was never a go-to palette. None of these shades were things that I would reach for in tandem with other palettes. I never used it, but I didn't want to get rid of it because it was so nice. Like, a MAC eyeshadow individually is probably like $18 to $20-ish. So 4 of them, it would probably be around the $50 to $60 mark. So I just like had more reticence to get rid of it, even if I didn't like it. But I did end up decluttering that earlier this year. I haven't found a home for that palette yet. I think I've posted it on Buns and Carrot. No takers there. At this point, I'm happy to just like give it away to someone, but that is something that I'm working on over these few weeks over the holidays now, clearing out old stuff that I've decluttered, but that's, you know, kind of a constant thing that I'm working on. And then also I had this Stila highlight, like a liquid highlight in this beautiful container, but it was extremely expired. Like even I, who uses a lot of expired products, would not use it. I would just like have it on my vanity, you know, because it was pretty. And at some point this year, I was like, this is just taking up valuable real estate. And every year I have to count it as a product in my collection, even though I'm not using it. Like, it's time to go. So those are just two examples, but I have been better at decluttering more expensive products. And also I think at using products that I like more and that are more high end. Yeah, I think I have definitely gotten better at both of these things. So thumbs up again on those. Okay, the next goal of this year was to pan or get through or declutter my lip product collection. I really just wanted, I wanted my whole collection to get smaller, but specifically my lip product collection was just out of hand because this is not even an area that like I like that much. Like my mascara collection is also out of hand, but I love mascara, so that's kind of justified. But the number of lip products I had was just silly. So I embarked on a specific lip product project pan this year where I panned lipsticks, lip liners. Yeah, that's basically it. I don't really wear lip oils or lip glosses. And not only did I use them on my lips and tried to use a lot more lip products, but I started using lipstick as blush, which changed my world. And now I am obsessed with cream blush. And I honestly, in 2023, I probably used lipstick as blush more frequently than I used regular blush. Like that's how much I was using it every day. I mean, even today I'm wearing a lip product on my cheeks literally every day. Like, I'm not exaggerating. And I have loved doing this and I intend to continue doing that in the future. So my lip product collection is still out of hand, but I made a big dent. I don't know the number that it went down from to, but I should insert that in this video and let you know how many lip products I used up and decluttered this year. I did a big lip product declutter at the beginning of 2023, so I can link that as well. But honestly, I probably got out like 10 to 15. Yeah, I would say around 15 lip products in 2023. So really happy about that. Another big thumbs up. The next makeup goal was to get better at curating my products and changing my space. This was a little bit more ambiguous, not as well defined, but I think just by the examples I gave of the MAC palette and the Stila product, I got better at decluttering things. And there were a couple things that this year I didn't really need to declutter. For example, the Becca highlight, that was still usable. There's still product in it, but I gave myself a hard deadline of decluttering it at the end of 2023. And that really helped, like giving myself an out date. So going forward, I'll probably talk about this more, but I want to continue giving myself hard out dates to get rid of products if I can't quite get myself to get rid of them yet, to say, okay, use this as much as you can for the next 2 months and then it's gone, because that helps me to feel like, okay, I'm able to use it, but I'm also looking forward to when it is leaving my collection. So it's kind of a good compromise. But yeah, I did those two massive declutters, the lip product declutter and the eyeliner declutter at the beginning of the year. I'd never done anything of that size declutter before, so I'm very happy about both of those. And yeah, I think that this is a thumbs up as well, even though I didn't have like specific goals for decluttering. I'm happy overall. And the final goal was to track things better. So I mean, this is still an issue, but for whatever reason, whenever I would go to do like a project pan or some kind of update, I would never know like which products I was supposed to have project panned, or I would like get the numbers mixed up and be like, I thought that I was panning 8, but I can only find 6 products. It was just chaos every time. Again, this is still a problem, but it's gotten a lot better because I now use a notebook for everything. I used to put things on my phone, and that it's just not as tactile. It wasn't as easy to like flip through and find exactly what I'm looking for, but now Every video I try to write down my makeup goals. I also filmed another video today. So, you know, I wrote down all my Project Pan items, and then I just have that to like look through and figure out, so I know exactly which products I'm talking about. I know the exact numbers. I'm trying to better track what products I have in my collection, and you know, I have those numbers. Like I said, I went from 175 to 155, and that is a fairly new thing, knowing the exact number of products in my collection. So I'm getting there. I'm still not perfect. I'm still struggling a little bit in this regard, but I definitely did better this year. So very happy about that. Those are all of the makeup goals that I had for 2023. And as you can tell, I did so good. Like, I am so impressed with myself for achieving all of these goals and doing almost like even better than I anticipated with a lot of them. So let's talk about my makeup goals for 2024 and how many of these goals I'm carrying over, how similar my goals are to 2023, or if I've had any kind of a mindset shift. Y'all, it's getting darker and darker out here. Okay, we gotta wrap this up. So, makeup goals for 2024. You might have been able to guess this based on how I felt about my no-buy in 2023, but I'm actually going to continue my no-buy. Shocking, I know, but I'm happy to not buy makeup. I don't know. I feel like when I'm on a no-buy, I'm less inclined to even be tempted. Like, if it's a low buy, then I'm like, sort of opening myself up to temptation and thinking about buying makeup because I know it's a possibility. Whereas if I'm on a no buy, it removes the choice entirely. So I don't even have to think about it. You know, I don't even have to be like, ooh, I want that. I'm just like, oh, well, it's not an option. So it's like not an extra stressor, you know? There are a couple of products that I've told my partner I want as a present. I'm filming this on December 23rd, and my partner and I usually exchange gifts on New Year's. So I think I will probably have a couple new products for 2024. And then I also have some things that I brought into my collection in 2023, but I've been saving to use them until 2024. You know, that CoverGirl lip gloss? Yes, that is one of them. So I will have a couple new products for the new year. And so that is exciting to me. I also have some new skincare stuff that I'm excited to use, but I don't feel like there are other makeup products that I need right now. I don't feel like I'm missing out. I don't feel like I missed out on Black Friday or like Christmas, Boxing Day sales, anything like that. I'm just really happy with how things are gone, and I'm planning to continue my no-buy. I don't know how long I'm going to. I'll need to sit and think about that a little bit longer, because a year sounds like quite a long time. Yeah, I just don't want to feel like I'm on a no-buy for a long time. Like 6 months didn't feel like that long, and so maybe for now I'll say 4 months, or until my birthday in June, so 5 months. But for now, my goal is to be on a makeup no-buy to begin 2024. The second goal is to update how this no-buy is going monthly on TikTok. So this isn't really a goal in terms of like my relationship with my makeup collection, but it's more like allowing myself to the space to think through and talk about my relationship to makeup. On my TikTok, this has been really helpful over the past 6 months to just sort of document how I'm feeling, if I want to buy any products, if I did break my makeup no buy over the past month, because I would update it at like, you know, beginning of August, beginning of September, etc. And this was just helpful for keeping me accountable and forever having the fact that I was on a makeup no buy front of mind, rather than updating it through YouTube videos where I would update it maybe every 4 months. Like, it's more immediate. So I want to continue doing that on TikTok. I've really enjoyed that. The next one is the size of my collection and, you know, my goals around that. So this past year, my goal was to make my collection smaller, which I succeeded at doing. I don't know if I had a specific number goal, but I went from 175 to 155. And so my goal for next year is to hit 140. So to lower the number of products in my collection by 15. So this past year I lowered it by 20. This upcoming year I want to lower it by 15. If it's more than that, I will be happy, but yeah, my goal is 140. I'm thinking right now that my overall goal for the size of my collection is 125 products, but you know, that is not a 2024 thing. That would be a 2025 thing, probably. So we'll worry about then. But yeah, again, I want to make my collection smaller, more curated, so that I enjoy the products that I do have more. The next goal, a blush roulette. This is one that I'm very excited about because I have not done this before. So whereas most of these things are kind of variations on previous goals, this is a whole new thing. I've done project pans before. Last year I started a new project pan, which was the lipstick project pan, but this is a different variation. I don't know, someone suggested it in my comments, I think, but basically I have a lot of blushes that I don't use. I tend to get fixated on what I'm working on and trying to pan, and so I don't use anything else until I have finished that one product. But this is not conducive to like getting use out of my whole collection, which yes, I do want to pan some of my products, but I still want to use everything that I have, you know, like semi-regularly at least. So my goal is to have one blush per month that I am focused on. This is not to say that I can't use other blushes in my collection except for that one blush, but at least this way I will be getting some use out of each blush in my collection, because I think I've got like 9 powder blushes, and these are the ones that I have not been using lately because I've been focusing exclusively on cream blushes. I do have some cream blushes in my project pan, so of course those I will be getting regular use out of, but I still want to make sure that I'm not just using the blushes in my project pan. So I will do a whole video on this at some point. I'm probably only going to update this every 4 to 6 months, because with blush you really cannot tell that much of a difference in terms of like progress on the pan, and how much am I even going to be able to talk about one single blush, you know. So at least if I wait 5 months, then I will have 5 different blushes to talk about my experiences of using them for a month each. So yes, that is one of my goals for this year, and I will be starting that probably sometime in February. Okay, and then I have a couple of goals that are just continuations of previous goals. So I'll just mention them very quickly, but I want to continue tracking better. So again, keep using this notebook for everything. It just makes things easier for each of my series if I know what the products are that I'm supposed to be focusing on, and the number, and how many products I have in my collection, and all that. So I want to continue doing that this next year. And the other continuing goal is to continue being decisive with what I bring into my collection. And obviously, yes, I am on a makeup no buy, so that means that I can't buy new stuff, but I still bring in things regularly to my makeup collection, right? Like I don't buy clothing firsthand, I only get it secondhand, but I still bring so much clothing in because people declutter their clothing to me, or I go to secondhand stores, I go to clothing swaps. Like there's so many ways for me to bring stuff into my collection, and it's the same with makeup. And it's almost more challenging when it comes to secondhand items, because a lot of the time those things are free. So if a friend, do I have anything close by? A lipstick I was wearing earlier was a beautiful KVD dark lipstick, which a friend decluttered to me. And would I have purchased that color in a store? No. I know that I wouldn't, because I don't love dark lipstick, but I could not turn it down when she offered it to me. And so I find it challenging sometimes to not accept everything that is freely offered to me. At clothing swaps, like you walk in and everything is free. You can take as many items as you want, really. I mean, provided it doesn't look too ridiculous. So with buns trades or with declutters, like even if something is free, I want to continue being very decisive about which items deserve a home in my collection, because it's not just about whether or not something costs money, it's also about how many things I have and if I will get use out of it. So continue being very decisive about that. So clearly I'm doing a good job. If everything is just like, continue doing this, then obviously I've been doing those things up until now. The last goal, I sort of referenced this earlier, is to force myself to have end dates for products. So if I don't like a product, but I still want to get use out of it, a good way to deal with it is to say 2 months from now, I'm decluttering it. So, you know, if I use it before then, if I don't, that's up to me, but I know that it will leave my collection. This is helpful also with products that I do love, but know have expired or have dried up a little bit. If I have an end date to work towards, it really helps me to get use out of that product and find other ways to use it and get creative. Okay, it's really too dark to film, but we're almost done, so I'm gonna make it work. I found this so helpful, and I have only instituted this like the last couple months and used the end of 2023 as a deadline because that was, you know, end of the year. That makes sense. I feel like people think of the new year as a way to like start fresh, but I think it can also be a way to part with certain things, whether it's certain habits, leave things behind in 2023, or, you know, leave products behind in 2023 and be able to declutter things that you don't need anymore. So yeah, I obviously will have to make it not be a full year deadline. I don't want to be like, okay, I will declutter that at the end of 2024. Maybe I'll do like a 2-month deadline or 6-month deadline, whatever. But I love this idea of having deadlines. I found it really useful the past couple months because I'm decluttering the Becca primer and also the e.l.f. concealer, and I think there's a third product, but I definitely want to continue this. So that is it for today's video. I'm so sorry that it is so dark, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and let's talk about a book that I've been reading lately. So I recently read God Save the Girls. I will insert a picture here. I read this in like ebook format, and I liked it, but I more liked the idea of it, if that makes sense. Like, it brought up some interesting ideas and topics. I thought it could have been done better. Like, basically, I got the sense that the narrative was inspired by the author, but I more wanted to know about the author than about this fictional story she had created. Like, I would have preferred a memoir of the author's life than the actual storyline. So basically, it's about these two young women. One is in high school, one has recently graduated from university. So they are the daughters of a famous evangelical pastor in Texas, and the younger daughter is starting to question her faith. The older daughter is about to get married to someone who it seems like she should not be getting married to, like is not the right person. And a huge secret comes out about the father, who is supposedly this like upstanding citizen who everyone adores and is like the idea of goodness, and of course he turns out not to be. And that exploration of your relationship with your religion and everything that you thought was true, and going through adolescence and everything like that. I found the discussion of purity culture really interesting, but I wish it had dived deeper. I mean, especially now when there are all these cases, like literally just last week I was reading about this case in Texas where a woman had to sue the government of Texas because she needed an abortion medically. Like, she was in danger and she legally could not get an abortion. I think the number was like Texas used to deliver 40,000 abortions, and so far this year there have been like 32, just like these stark statistics. And you wonder what is happening to these pregnant people. You know, what do they do? There are probably still 40,000 people who need abortions this year and could not access them. Did they go to a different state? Were they forced to bear children that they did not want to? It's just, thinking about it is horrifying, and I wish the book had delved more into that, and the way that purity culture and evangelicalism is intertwined with politics and the way that it impacts millions and millions of people throughout the US. And there is an essay at the end of the book about the author and her life growing up and how she grappled with these questions. But yes, it was interesting. I just feel like it could have delivered more. But that is it for today's video. I'm so sorry that I am basically in the dark. Yeah, it's sunset now. But I hope you have a lovely rest of your day and that you enjoyed hearing about my makeup goals. I would love to hear about yours for the upcoming year, and I will talk to you next week.